Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the showdown between the Empire led by Pimp Daddy Gelt and the Beast People who are going to be led by Morker the Shadowgave. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So the first thing, you guys, I was about to actually talk about my front line and my Pistoliers, but I feel like everyone's attention would be here on the back line. So yes, guys, we are going with the dreaded double steam tank build. And steam tanks are one of those things that, yes, are very vulnerable. They only have 10 melee defense, but in matchups where you're facing off against, like, let's say the Greenskins or the Beastmen who don't have, like, the best armor-piercing missiles, I feel like those are the matchups in which you can get away with using steam tanks. So we do have two of these guys in total. They're going to be providing some overwatch fire, and in infantry against, like, Bestigors, and, well, Bestigors actually can put a bit of a dent in the steam tanks, but if you put them on top of the spears, or even against like low tier beastmen troops like Ungors and Goreherds, which are pretty common in the Empire matchup, I feel like these guys are going to be pretty devastating. So we do have two of the meme tanks here in the back. Three groups of spearmen with shields are going to make up our infantry core. And this is really going to be the heavy meat and potatoes of our army. So up here in the vanguard area, we do have three groups of Pistoliers, which are pretty good at fighting against Centaurs. So they can fire while moving, they can fire 360. They don't have the best armor piercing values, but against Centaurs who don't have much armor to begin with, they're definitely not bad. Looks like some Hounds over here. So yeah, they can shoot Hounds. And also looks like he has some Minotaurs. So it's going to be a pretty wild one. So three groups of Pistoliers. We do have the Meme Lord himself, Balthazar Gelt, up here with the Staff of Alans and Final Transmutations. Yeah, we're going to be trying to melt them down, but unfortunately he does have Morker the Shadowgave, so Morker pretty much can heal through the damage that the Final Transmutation does, but it's still pretty good. Also, on top of that, we do have Reiksguard and Knights of the Blazing Sun. So I actually meant to get the Zentler's Reiksguard, but I think I just accidentally clicked the Knights of the Blazing Sun. But regardless, neither of them are bad against Beastmen. They can, do pretty well against any of the Beastmen mobile units if they can catch them. Very good at cycle charging infantry. And they're mainly there to protect my Pistoliers from the Hounds and other mobile Beastmen forces. We got two Witch Hunters as well. So the Witch Hunter is going to be marching up the hill, accusing some foul beasts of heresy. Pretty good stuff there. And that is it for my entire army. So for my opponent, he's got some Hounds hidden in the forest. And yeah, he's going to be taking refuge here in the trees. So very Beastman-like, I suppose. He's got Bestigor herds, Koroks man rippers against heavy cav, more Bestigors. In the secondary line, a couple of groups of Ungor spearmen. He does also have Minotaurs with great weapons. And a Gorbel. So I don't see Gorbels too often. But Morker the Shadowgave. And for his caster, he does have a Wild Shaman. It looks like Savage Dominion as well as Traderkin. So he's most likely just going to be summoning Cygors and things. So looks like he's going to be playing a little bit defensively. It's going to be tough considering my army composition because I do have the Witch Hunters as well as the Pistoliers, so I can hopefully be able to force them out of the forest here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. So Pistoliers are going to be pushing forward. I actually couldn't really see him at this point. I think I could see like one or two of his units because they weren't like hidden properly. So basically just going to be using Balthazar Gelt the Scout. He's relatively quick atop the mighty Quicksilver, rocking 112 speed, so definitely no joke in that respect. And the meme tanks are going to be pushing up. So I thought I was going to have to fight over the high ground, so I left them back. But when I realized my opponent was hiding in the forest, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to get the steam tanks in the high ground. It should definitely work out pretty well. So Balthazar flying in, but the Raiders are going to get a decent little volley, so I didn't see them until the last second. I was like, evasive maneuvers! So Balthazar Gelt's going to be swooping sideways. He does dodge most of those shots, but he's pretty squishy himself, so he doesn't want to be taking all that. So it's kind of surveying my opponent's army, looking for the best targets for Final Transmutation, because at this point I already had 30 wins of magic from the Staff of Alans and Arcane Conduit. So I was like, all right, I'm coming for that booty. So I saw him moving the Brace Shaman across and I was like, this is perfect. If he keeps moving the Brace Shaman, I can cast Final Transmutation on him, which is the ideal target, and it's going to catch Morker. The Morker, as well as the Koroks man rippers, all get caught with an upgraded Final Transmutation, which is great stuff right there, doing huge damage and, most likely going to force my opponent out of the forest. So the steam tanks have taken the high ground. You can see they're moving up, and their range is 380. So pretty good range on those bad boys. And I can now see my opponent because of Balthazar Gelt just kind of circling about. So I'm going to start shooting in the steam tanks. You can see here they have the high ground, and the first cannon shots coming in and raining some fire down on those Ungors, hitting the trees, but applying some pressure to the Brace Shaman as well. So we did actually summon a Cygor here. So we wanted to kind of give it back a little bit. So the two steam tanks are going to line up their sights, calibrate their shots here, and start shooting at the Cygor. And the Pistoliers will also be sweeping in. You can see that the shot actually staggers those Cygors pretty efficiently. So that was definitely pretty good stuff. The steam tanks definitely packing a bit of a punch. So I figured I was really going to be able to force him out with the Witch Hunters. It's a little bit risky because he has so many mobile forces, but the Witch Hunters will be moving up, looking to get accusation. And you can see the Pistoliers. Look at that. It's just like he's just getting knocked over and just shot with pistols. Man, that is like the most unfortunate Cygor ever. So he's taking quite a bit of damage from the Pistoliers. Hounds do rush out, and I was actually like watching my Witch Hunters because there was a lot of foul business going on here. So a little bit scary. The Gorbel does get accused of heresy, which actually makes sense. And the Hound's also charging in, so very good Hound play for my opponent, getting my Witch Hunters there. But the Reiksguard or Knights of the Blazing Sun are going to be charging in and lancing these Hounds. So the whole time I'm just like force pathing back the Witch Hunters, trying to get them to safety. And the other hounds did come after my pistoliers, got a little bit of damage on one of them, but then the supporting elements of my forces here, the Reichsguard, were able to get in there and shut him down. So the Witch Hunters trying to pull back. My opponent is advancing rather very, very quickly here. You can see the Minotaurs with great weapons coming in, taking some Overwatch fire from the Pistoliers, and I think, used my other accusation on these guys, so very, very good targets for Pistoliers. Pistoliers are like designed to take on such targets. Anyways, getting some really good shots here. The double accusation going down, but one of my Witch Hunters, it looks like he's struggling behind a little bit. Some of those Minotaurs and Hounds are on top of him, but you can see that one Gorbel just getting tagged, and I feel like the mass of the cannonball from the steam tanks might be a little bit better than regular cannons. Who knows? Anyways, at this point, I kind of concede the Knights of the Blazing Sun. I'm like, I need you guys to stand and fight. I know it's not an ideal situation. You're fighting like things that are hard counters to you, but I really needed to get those Witch Hunters out. But unfortunately, the Gorbel and some of these Minotaurs are just pounding this Witch Hunter, and he keeps getting stuck. I can't get him back. So my opponent also has moved up his Ungor Raiders right here, and he's getting some pretty good shots on my Pistolier, so good stuff there. But there's another blob. So Balthazar Gelt, not overcasted. I do get another final transmutation, which is perfect. So this Witch Hunter sacrifice will not be in vain. He's going to be taking a lot of damage, but again, we get some good melting effects here. The Gorbel, as well as the Bray Shaman, are also very tattered. So in the back, I'm trying to sneak around with my Reichsguard. This Overwatch fire from the Ungor is doing quite a bit of work, but the Reichsguard come in with a full charge and just lance down these little, I don't even like Pan's Labyrinth monsters, whatever they like a pan with their flutes. So we ride them down there with the Reichsguard, doing some pretty good work. Granted, there are Bestigor herds nearby and other supporting troops, so they probably won't be able to sit there. They're going to be forced off. Bray Shaman is going to be chasing the Pistoliers, and as far as armor goes, he does have 80, so he has some decent mitigation against Pistoliers, but this is a lot of fire here. You can see he's getting melted pretty badly and really enjoying the Pistoliers quite a bit in this matchup. Looks like he's going to be getting a Traderkin, which is going to be hitting all these troops, so a very, very good cast there for my opponent, but it looks like the Bray Shaman is probably going to get shattered if not picked off here. So that was a pretty good situation. In the meantime, my one Witch Hunter does get taken out for the most part. He's broken. He's probably not going to come back anytime soon, and over here we have another battle. So I do get an accusation on the Gorbel, just running with the Witch Hunter, and I do send in the Spearman to intercept, and now's the time for those guys to kind of stand and fight. Pistoliers are able to shatter, and actually looks like they're going to kill that guy. A little bit of overkill, but they're making a statement here. And these Knights of the Blazing Sun very, very beat up here. I decided to charge into the Ungor Raiders to shut them down, but there are spears nearby, so not going to be the greatest situation. Reichsguard over here did kind of get overwhelmed a little bit, so I came around the back. He did summon some Chaos Spawn there, some spears and Bestigors were able to force me back into the forest. But something that's going pretty well is the meme tank is in really, really good shape here. These Spearmen, I'm not sure why. They should probably turn and fight this guy. The other Spearmen did rush down the hill. The valiant Sons of Sigmar, well, they're not actually the Sons of Sigmar, but metaphorically speaking, they're charging down the hill, attacking the Bestigors, and just allowing the steam tanks to kind of just sit up here and shoot their little steam cannons. I wonder what the damage profile is on their steam cannon. That would be interesting if it was on their stat card. But anyways, getting some decent Overwatch fire. You can see that cannon from the steam tanks doing massive damage against the Korok's Man Rippers, and these Spearmen of the Empire are holding pretty well. Morkr the Shadowgave, though, is coming after the Witch Hunter, and this is definitely a time to accuse something of heresy. He shoots him right in the face, 360 no-scopes him. But nonetheless, Morkr is a pretty powerful combatant. Korok's Man Rippers are chasing as well, so my opponent trying to shut me down there. Over here, the Pistoliers on the far side of the battlefield have just been shooting at my opponent's, the remnants of his low-tier troops. So he does have some Raiders here, which I'm going to be running over with the Knights of the Blazing Sun. So just having a good old time riding these guys down. Yeah, just need to get rid of those so my Pistoliers can be relatively free in their movement. The other group of Ungor herds here, another good target for Pistoliers. They don't have shields, they have very low armor, so the Pistoliers are just going to sit and kind of cap these guys, hopefully get some pretty good value. And this battle's going okay. Unfortunately, my Witch Hunter does get broken off by Morkr. That was a really tough situation. But now it's like, you know what, I have plenty of Spearmen. The Korok's Man Rippers, which are the anti-large halberd variant of the Bestigor herds, are broken off, so let's send in the steam tanks. Let's have them fight in melee. And you can see they're doing a pretty good job just running these guys over, blasting them with steam cannons, which is pretty cool. And the Spearmen are actually able to break up these Bestigor herds with a terror route from the steam tank, because steam tanks do cause fear and terror, which is nice. So at this point, I'm like, all right, it's time to run over Morkr here. So the double steam tank collapse are going to be going after Morkr, and you can see he just gets punted by that steam tank. And at this point, I leave the two steam tanks fighting him, and I believe I do pull the Spearman off. And the Pistoliers are pretty much out of ammunition. But again, what's cool about Pistoliers against Beastmen, there's always going to be like low-tier routing troops with the Beastmen, so just use your Pistoliers to kind of chase them down as they break off. Korok's Man Rippers are another unit I really don't want coming back, so anytime there's like a unit, like 25 Korok's Man Rippers could certainly make a difference, especially if they're braced against steam tanks and things like that. So getting my Knights of the Blazing Sun here to chase them off, definitely very important stuff. So I'm not sure where Balthazar Gelt is. He's over here. He's jumping in on this Morkr party. I do also have a Witch Hunter coming back, so he's coming back from the distance. And this is what I wanted to show you guys. So look at this. The steam tank is just like driving Morkr to the sunset. Look at that. I don't know what was going on there, but that made me laugh so damn hard when I was in the battle. But I mean, at this point, it was pretty much over regardless. But the final transmutation, but Morkr literally being driven into the sunset. I was trying to think. Like I watched a movie called The Blind Side recently, and it's about a guy who eventually becomes an NFL player, but he's like basically like drives someone down the entire field and like throws him over the railing. And And yeah, that was like where Morker would be in that mountain range somewhere. But anyways, yeah, that's happened to me a couple times with Steam Tanks where like it'll grab an enemy lord and just like push them into the sunset when they're in melee, which is really, really funny. But aside from that, definitely a good performance from the Steam Tanks. They were really solid. Not the most kills, but good Overwatch fire. They were pretty good melee, just breaking up the Beastmen troops. Actually, like the Spearman plus Steam Tank composition really stomped all over the Bestigor herds when they finally got there, which was cool. A little bit sloppy play on my part with the Witch Hunters. I think I should have been more conservative with them. I let them get swamped and just took too much damage. Then my control of them lapsed. It was just rough. So that was probably one of the big things that made the game a little bit dicey. Knights of the Blazing Sun and Reiksguard did a pretty good job. Blazing Sun, they just held things in place. Reiksguard did get up and around the back, but again, I also think that my control lapsed a little bit with those guys. I was just so busy with the Pistoliers and the Steam Tanks and other things like that. But yeah, ultimately, I think the army composition worked out pretty well. If there are going to be Steam Tanks used, I think that, you know, the Beastmen as well as the Greenskins and, you know, those kind of low-tier missile factions are really the way to go. Especially ones with lower leadership across the board, because Angors and Gorherds and things like that. I mean, they do have Frenzy on some of them, but for the most part, low leadership stuff. For my opponent's army composition, let's see. So he does have Morker the Shadowgave and a Wildcaster, which is pretty much fine. Gorbel's not bad either. Good against heavy knights, as well as Imperial leadership. Escort Herds can be generally a pretty safe pick. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of Minotaurs. I feel like against the Empire, you really need to swarm them. Like, I would have liked to seen Centaurs without the great weapons, and then a couple with great weapons, and then join them with the Hounds. And then at that point, like Centaurs with great weapons plus poison hounds and support with wild magic and a Gorbel can definitely overwhelm the Imperial Cav forces. So I think that's kind of more the direction to go rather than this very defensive like Koroks Manrippers / Minotaurs with great weapons style play. But anyways, very well played to my opponent. Let's see, what is it? Jesulek. Look forward to running into you again on ladder, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this double meme tank build. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.